Is Illuminaughtii still lying about her former friends? Well, because of some new information that's come out, a lot of people would say, yeah, she is. Throwaway 1235985 posted to Reddit some leaked documents from the Illuminaughtii lawsuit. Now, if you remember in my last video, I went over Illuminauttii's second amended complaint. So I'm not going to go over that whole thing again. Check the description if you don't know what's going on, or if you just need a reminder. One of the documents that was leaked in this Reddit post is OzMedia and his team's motion to dismiss Illuminauttii's second amended complaint, which we are going to go over. However, there were two very, very new documents that nobody knew about that we're going to go over as well. Two of these documents, though, nobody had any idea about until now. And what are these, you may be asking? Well, these are Illuminauttii's attempts to get a civil protection order against OzMedia and Wonderstruck. No, you did not hear me wrong. And believe me when I say that these documents are absolutely wild. For the purpose of linearity, I suppose, let's go over OzMedia and his team's motion to dismiss Illuminauttii's second amended complaint, since that is the last thing that we discussed. Again, link in the description if you want to read that again, if you want to know what we're talking about here. Now remember, Illuminaughtii was told that she had 14 days to submit a second amended complaint because of the fact that she had not given enough detail in her complaint. She was alleging things like defamation, but she wasn't giving direct quotes or saying where this defamation occurred and how it could be found. So the judge said, you need to put these things out verbatim in your amended complaint. And she put a couple of things, but not actually that much. Despite this court's allowing plaintiffs to file a second amended complaint, the claims against defendant Oz still fail to articulate the verbatim alleged defamatory statements made, precluding any finding that such statements are plausibly provably false or defamatory. While directed by the court in its order in January 15, 2024, all alleged defamatory statements by all defendants shall be set out verbatim, and the media containing these statements, that is Twitter/X threads, videos and the like, shall be disclosed to the defendants. Plaintiff's second amended complaint continues to lack sufficient allegations of fact to set forth any cause of action for defamation or breach of contract against defendant Oz, and should be dismissed. Pretty much just saying that this should be dismissed because the judge said she had to say these things verbatim, she had to put the Twitter threads, the videos, everything, but she didn't do that. This is her third attempt. I had to think about that for a minute. I couldn't count to 3. This was her third attempt. She still didn't get it right, and now they're saying this is ridiculous, dismiss this. Things must absolutely be provably false if she can't name them here. Then they go on to talk about the additional things that Illuminaughtii added onto her complaint. Because if you'll remember, she started talking about how OzMedia accessed her computer without her permission, and that was a crime. However, this was something that had not been mentioned in her first or second complaint. So this is her third attempt, and she's now suddenly decided to just throw that in there. This claim, which was not included in the original or first amended complaint, goes well beyond the leave to amend granted by the court in January 15, 2024, and therefore should be stricken from the second amended complaint in its entirety. So she didn't include it before, she's just thrown it in now, and therefore should be thrown out. Before I move on with the rest of the video though, I want to tell you about today's sponsor, Delete Me. Did you know that your personal data is being sold online by data brokers? These data brokers are corporations that gather and analyze massive amounts of personal information from sources like government and other public records, self-reported information, social media, and other data brokers. Then they package and sell this data all without your consent. Not only is this a huge invasion of your privacy, but it can be potentially dangerous too. Having your personal information sold by data brokers can put you at risk of being harassed for your publicly expressed opinions, can put you at risk of stalking, or could put you at risk of being a victim of identity theft or phishing scams. In fact, in the United States alone, there is an identity theft case every 22 seconds, and that number is predicted predicted to rise in 2024. But there are ways that you can protect your personal information, and that's where Delete Me comes in. Delete Me is a hands-free subscription service that will remove your information that's being sold online. Their experts will find and remove your personal information, and you'll even receive a detailed Delete Me report. Plus, they will continue to regularly search for and delete your personal information all year. They can remove information like your name, your age, your email address, your home address, your phone number, your occupation, photos of you, and even information about your relatives. I truly would recommend this service. Delete Me can be invaluable in helping you protect yourself online from identity theft and other dangers that can come from having your personal information being bought and sold. You have the rights to stay private and protect your personal data. And right now you can get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/skov20 and use the promo code SKOV20 at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/skov20, code SKOV20, and that link will be in the description for you to check out as well. Again, I really would recommend this service, so thank you to Delete Me for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get on with the rest of it. With regard to the defamation claim asserted against Oz, plaintiff's second amended complaint is further subject to a special motion to dismiss pursuant to Colorado's anti-SLAPP statute. Plaintiffs are public figures, and the statements made by Oz in written or oral statements or writings made in a place open to the public or public forum in connection with an issue of public interest and or any other conduct or communication in furtherance of the constitutional right of free speech in connection with a public issue or an issue of public interest. And they say because of this it should be dismissed, and accordingly Oz is entitled to his attorney fees and costs pursuant to section blah blah blah. Plaintiff's breach of confidentiality agreement contracts claims similarly fail to be plausible. So going over the SLAPP thing first, because I know that was just like a lot of words. According to Baker Law Group, according to Colorado law, a SLAPP suit, is short for a strategic lawsuit against public participation, is a civil claim filed against an individual or organization arising out of that party's speech or communication about an issue of public concern. SLAPP suits center around the First Amendment right to free speech and freedom to petition the government. Such lawsuits are usually filed to silence criticism of matters of public concern. So in simple terms, what this means is that because Illuminaughtii is a public figure, speaking out about her bad actions is a matter of public concern. And it's possible that by attempting to sue OzMedia and others for defamation, Illuminaughtii is essentially trying to silence her critics, but they have a right to speak about something which is, again, of public concern. This document then goes on to specify a lot of the legal backing and reason of why this needs to be dismissed, but that's not for us. We're not lawyers. We don't need to read all that stuff. But of course you can read it for yourself if you want to, or if you are a lawyer, actually. There might be people watching who are lawyers. I'm sorry that I dismissed your career there. You're valid. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to read this. It's not actually relevant for what we're talking about today. It also then goes into more detail about the anti-SLAPP statute, which is essentially what we just said a second ago. This is potentially an attempt to silence OzMedia and others involved, and therefore her case should be thrown out. Plaintiff's second amended complaint fails to meet the court's requirements in its January 15, 2024 order, the regular pleading requirements of CRCP, with respect to the claims asserted, and the heightened pleading standards required for defamation claims involving a public figure on matters of public concern as required by the Colorado and United States Constitutions and Colorado's anti-SLAPP statute. Accordingly, the second amended complaint should be dismissed with prejudice. Now, if you're wondering what this means, according to the Cornell Law School, dismissal with prejudice means that the plaintiff cannot refile the same claim again in court. And this can be because it's seen to be a baseless claim. So if the judge were to go through with this dismissal with prejudice, Illuminaughtii will not be able to file the same claim again and just start from the beginning. It would be over, essentially. So according to some legal something or other, to be defamatory per se, the statement must contain defamatory words specifically directed at the person claiming injury, which words must, on their face and without aid of intrinsic proof, be unmistakably recognized as injurious. So to be defamation, it has to be defamation. Are we following? In paragraph 46 and again at paragraphs 76 to 78, plaintiffs selectively quote snippets of statement made by defendant Oz, i.e. embezzlement, and, which wouldn't be surprising considering Blair's white-collar crimes, I intend to expose with evidence in my own video, but again fail to include the full verbatim statements or the context. Nevertheless, plaintiffs admit in paragraph 79 that the statements were, at most, made with negligent disregard for its truth because defendant Oz couldn't remember if this exact word was ever used, referring to the word embezzlement, which was something that we talked about. She said that this was clearly a defamatory statement, that he mentioned alleged white-collar crime and in a separate thing mentioned embezzlement, and they just put the two together and decided, yes, this is defamation, but clearly this is not enough, and Oz's lawyers are saying exactly that. It then goes on to say that the burden of proof is on Illuminaughtii since she's the one making the claim. And yes, if you're accusing somebody of something, the burden of proof falls onto you, not onto the other person. In paragraph 41 of the second amended complaint, plaintiffs selectively quote the words "the aggressor" and "has a habit of starting fights" from a series of Twitter X posts, but fail to include the full and complete verbatim statements, as we know by now is what the judge actually asked for. Nor do plaintiffs provide any context. In order to establish that the statement was defamatory, it is necessary for plaintiffs to explain by innuendo the defendant's meaning of the words employed. Here there are not only no defamatory words alleged in context, but also no innuendo to explain the meaning. These snippets of statements attributed to defendant Oz, aggressor, and has a habit of starting fights, are simply too attenuated and without context to constitute defamation. Blair, I just want to say, like the judge said, verbatim statements. How have you not done that? How have your lawyers not done that? What is going on? I know I went into this in the last video and I ranted for a bit, but how are you so bad at your job? No offense to these lawyers. Maybe it's not their fault. Maybe it's Illuminautti's fault. Maybe they're giving them nothing to go off. So, I don't know. Plaintiffs attempt to demonstrate special damages based on statements by defendant Oz by pointing to a drop in revenue, alleging that defendant Oz's statements caused special damages as evidenced by the fact that plaintiffs' revenue from videos dropped by more than 95%. That is a huge percentage. After the September 16th Let's Talk video was published, from $47,665.31 in the period of September 16th to October 1st to $2,312.86 in the same period. In fact, plaintiffs' drop in revenue as a product of viewership dropped well before defendant Oz made the September 2023 statements in his Let's Talk video, as evidenced by online viewership data for a plaintiff's Illuminaughtii persona. See the online statistics available at Social Blade. Let's look at Social Blade. I absolutely adore this. They said Illuminaughtii, her views were dropping way before I said anything. Look at Social Blade, look at the stats. I have the receipts. What you gonna do about it? I really like Oz's lawyers. They're very funny to me. They're very sassy. I really like it. I can't believe that Social Blade is being used here. That's just wonderful. It's like a YouTube video, but way more professional and with actual information, but in the form of a document. Then goes on to talk about Illuminautti's claims that OzMedia had breached his contract. Similarly, this claim suffers from the same lack of plausibility, where the amended complaint fails to give any particular confidential or proprietary information that was used by Oz, contrary to alleged contract. Rather, the claims are merely bootstrapped to the plaintiff's defective defamation claims and must also be dismissed for failure to state a claim upon which relief can be granted. So again, there's just nothing of substance there. And that is the end of the amended complaint, and it was a wild ride. I appreciate the sass. Very nice. We'll see where this goes. I don't know how long it will actually take for the judge to make a decision, but this was submitted on the 8th of March, so hopefully soon, and I say hopefully for the sake of OzMedia and the other people involved. Now let's move on and look at the civil protection orders. The real wild ride of this whole thing. I was not expecting this, nobody knew about this, and apparently neither did OzMedia or Wonderstruck, or at least OzMedia anyway. According to Legal Information Network of Colorado, a protection order is essentially just a restraining order, if you weren't sure. People who are afraid for their safety can ask the court for a civil protection order. So we can see that Blair issued this request for a CPO on the 14th of June 2023, so all the way last summer. This, by the way, is the protection order that she's trying to get against OzMedia. Like I said, there are two separate ones here. And she's claiming that she's a victim of domestic abuse, stalking, and physical assault, threat, or other situation, which are absolutely massive things to be claiming. The most recent incident that causes me to ask for a civil protection order occurred on or about May 2nd, 2023, when Oz did the following to me. Petitioner and Oz were previously involved in a romantic relationship and in presenting a group YouTube vlog, Sad Milk, with other collaborators. Blair and Oz are popular social media personalities and influencers individually, as well as with Oz having over 500,000 subscribers to his personal YouTube channel, and over 36,000 followers on his Twitter account. On or about April 23rd, 2023, Blair and Oz had a falling out. Oz and 3 other collaborators involved in Sad Milk channel made posts to their individual social media accounts making accusations of cruelty, racism, and verbal abuse. Since April 23rd, 2023, Oz and his cohorts have continued to post to their channels and encourage their followers to attack Blair in comment section across her social media platforms and threaten her with bodily harm. Oz, on May 2nd, 2023, posted a comment to another collaborator's video blog on May 2nd under the guise of coming clean about the narrative of cruelty and misbehaviour he attributes to petitioner. This comment generated over 10,000 likes. So she's saying here that he encouraged his fans to go out and threaten her. Not once did he do that. Absolutely never. That did not happen. Petitioner began receiving death threats after Oz and other collaborators' posts on May 17th. Petitioner received a threat from an unknown source stating that on the 19th of May, the Americans put their dates backwards and I had to pause to read that. At 12 a.m, there will be a call placed on your home address issuing a hostage situation. There will be heavily armed and equipped police officers that will be discharged to your home address and won't hesitate on shooting or flashbanging you. Petitioner alerted the Colorado Springs, I assume that's supposed to say police department, but it doesn't, after receiving this message. So this might actually be what she was referring to in her second amended complaint when she mentioned calling the police. In early June, Blair served Oz with a cease and desist letter due to his rhetoric online, which has resulted in death threats made towards Blair, along with financial harm towards Blair. Oz, after receiving the cease and desist, posted on June 6th that he was going to continue his rhetoric. Petitioner received an email on June 6th after Oz's post, titled, "Go yourself, you fat ass fake." This email contained further terrible content. Since June 6th, petitioner's full name, birth date, phone number, home address, email accounts, and social media accounts, passwords, and schools that petitioner attended have been posted online by an unknown third party. Now, I will be honest here, this is not good. People shouldn't be emailing people and saying things like that. However, you can't say that that's Oz's fault because he's not the one emailing you this. This is random people. And again, he never, ever told people to harass Blair. Also, I don't think her personal information was widespread. I actually haven't seen it anywhere. I have seen people post her name online because it was posted in my comments, but I've blocked her full name from my comments so that people can't do that. And OzMedia was encouraging of this, was encouraging of people to not post her personal information. On June 13th, Oz tweeted, in part, "The Illuminaughtii sent a physical cease and desist to my dad's address as well. You're forcing my hand here, something I initially didn't want to do. After Oz's tweet, petitioner received numerous hateful comments on her social media pages, along with comments for people to go after her sponsors that help financially support her. Some of her sponsors stopped working with her due to those posts. It actually says due to those comments, but it's meant to say due to those comments. I have to put my glasses on. I'm really struggling to read this, so I keep getting closer and closer to the microphone. So if I'm really loud at certain points, that's why, but I'll try and fix it in post. Oh my god, I can see. Thank God. The most serious incident that causes me to ask for a civil protection order occurred on or about April 23rd, when Oz did the following to me. As discussed since April 23rd, Oz and his associates have made an orchestrated effort to attack and encourage others to attack Blair across their considerably popular social media platforms. These efforts include carefully timed posts to his Twitter accounts exposing Blair for cruelty, racism, manipulation of him, financial abuse of, and verbally attacking her former collaborators. Since April 23, 2023, Blair has lost over 120,000 subscribers from her YouTube channel, causing a 67% drop in her revenue. Blair's videos are now swamped by comments quoting Oz's claims and threatening violence or swatting against Blair. We've been over this so many times. There are so many reasons why people unsubscribed. And I even had a comment recently when I was talking about this, somebody saying, well, I personally unsubscribed because of her sharing personal information about Wonderstruck in her own video, not because of the things they claimed. And it's also a very big claim to say that they had this orchestrated collaborative effort where they timed everything. This all began because of her accusing somebody of plagiarism who didn't plagiarize her, having PTSD symptoms right now. If you know, you know. But yeah, it all started because of her. So how is she going to sit there and say that this is all his fault? It's all to do with him. Collaborative effort. In December 2022, petitioner and Oz signed a notarized repayment schedule to repay financial money that Oz owed, total approximately $178,000, which we have talked about in depth before. Oz continually used petitioner as a source of money while in a romantic relationship with her, causing financial strain on the relationship and eventually the end of the relationship. This includes waiting until petitioner was a few days post-surgery to ask for $22,000 to pay a bill for his house. Now, if this is pertaining to the whole mortgage repayment thing that we discussed in the last video, then this is looking really sus. Because if she's talking about the exact same two things here, her own two statements do not line up with each other. Here she's saying that he was asking her for money, using her money, but in her other statement, she claimed explicitly that he had lied to her, that she needed to pay him mortgage repayments on his home. I think, I'm not a lawyer, so I could be wrong, but I personally believe that she has shot herself in the foot here. On or around January 4th, 2023, Blair and Oz had a falling out. Oz admitted to one of Blair's employees to getting into Blair's computer and finding information that she was seeing someone new. This keeps coming up again and again. Blair, I'm gonna be so honest. I really am. I don't care about your relationship drama. I really don't. Maybe I should pretend to care, but I'm never somebody who pretends to care about something. I do not care about your relationship drama. Your relationship drama is not reason enough to need a restraining order. It's also not reason enough to sue somebody for breach of contract. You're blowing something entirely out of proportion, even if it's exactly how she said, right? Which I have reason to believe that she is not being completely truthful here, and my reason to believe is my own opinion, by the way, because I don't trust her. Even if it's exactly how she says, this is not reason enough to ask for a restraining order. Him going into her computer is not reason enough to ask for a restraining order, and it's not enough to sue him. So even if she's telling the full honest truth here, I don't care in this context. In this context, it does not feel relevant to me. If he did break into her computer, probably a bad thing to do. Absolutely. But again, I don't trust her word, because we can see how much she contradicts herself. On or around April 23rd, Oz and the rest of the collaborators involved in Sad Milk made posts to their individual social media accounts, deriding Blair and making accusations of cruelty and racism. I don't remember the racism claims. Am I insane? I don't think there was ever any racism claims. I'm gonna go back. Hold on. This is gonna take me like a good 20 minutes, so bear with me. You'll see me in 2 seconds. Yeah, so I've looked and I don't see any claims about racism. Maybe I'm missing an old claim. If somebody can find this, let me know. But I've gone through all of the Twitter stuff because I have all the screenshots all here all the time. And I don't see anything about racism, so I'm not sure. And then again says that they all encouraged their fans to attack Blair, which is not true. They didn't do that. They never said go and attack Blair. That didn't happen. This is just lying, in my opinion. Petitioner in June sent a cease and desist letter. Instead of ceasing his behaviour, Oz tweeted 3 separate times on June 6th and 13th about said letter. Oz on June 13th wrote in part, "You're forcing my hand here, something I initially didn't want to do." Those tweets were viewed by over 1.2 million individuals and had received over 46,000 likes by individuals. On June 6th, after Oz's post, Petitioner received an email to go kill herself. After said tweets, the following comments were posted to Blair's YouTube channel. Now she's actually trying to scare parents of her victims. It's amazing how when you think she can't go any lower, she somehow does. Remember people, Blair groomed a guy into being her indentured servant and made him homeless when he had enough and was emotionally and financially abusive to her partner, tried to ruin her old friends' careers with accusations, and did her absolute best to use her position and platform to cause real-world harm on every single one of her victims. I stand with the victims, you're guilty, blah 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 blah. I think it would have made more sense for her own case to actually give quotes of comments that were trying to cause harm to her, because right now this is just about her reputation. This isn't actually something that is threatening her safety, which would be the point of a restraining order. At least I think so. And then it's written there in pen at the bottom, Oz would physically assault Blair's dog. Wow. Okay, so this one OzMedia actually spoke about. So I'm only just now finding out about this, and I'm probably making a massive mistake by tweeting this. Apparently, behind the scenes, in a failed attempt at a restraining order back in June of last year, Blair is flat out lying and claiming I used to hit Casper. This isn't a court-filed document. Thankfully, to my understanding, because I'm only now just finding out about this due to someone outside of both legal parties leaking these documents, this is outside of the main lawsuit, so I can quickly squash this publicly, unlike the other claims she's made against me in the legal system, which I'm forced to wait on. Just food for thought, if I, God forbid, hurt Casper, why would Blair be in tears at the end of her original video stating how much she would miss our friendship, and specifically how much of a best friend I was to Casper?
This final section and this final person will be the hardest for me to address, so I plan on keeping this brief. Oz, you were right. I am afraid of looking stupid and weak online, and yet I am those things right now. You've been with me through a lot of really intense and personal situations in my life. You were there throughout the entire process of my mom's cancer diagnosis, her various treatments, and hospitalizations. And I know there were many times when I had to run out the door suddenly because there was a crash cart in her room and they didn't know if she was going to make it. And you said you'd stay at the house and watch Casper so I could go to my mom. You were there for Casper's various hospitalizations when he would get sick throughout the years, and you helped me through a very difficult surgery recovery. I just want to say thank you for always being my support through all of my ups and downs. I know that a lot of these personal situations in my life left me very thin and sometimes irritable, and I want to say thank you for supporting me through it and talking me through some really hard times. Your support and your friendship meant more to me than I think you'll probably ever know. I'm gonna miss all the fun things we used to do, eating way too much cheese at the melting pot. I'll miss you teaching me how to play Command and Conquer and playing it, and how you've always obviously been Casper's BFF, and you know how Casper is not afraid of Oswaldo. We're both gonna miss you a lot. The truth is, like we've privately discussed before, I always hoped that we'd be able to reconnect again in the future and mend our friendship. I meant that when I said it to you, and I believed you when you said it back. Even after everything that's happened, you were the one person that I always thought we could just get it and pick back up where we left. And unfortunately, I think that ship has sailed. Oz, I miss the friend you were to me, but I think this makes it clear that we finally need to cut all ties.
So not only is Oz denying this claim, we also don't have to take his word for it because Blair says it herself here. She says very clearly that he took good care of Casper, that he was a best friend to Casper, and also, interestingly, that he took good care of her when she was recovering from surgery. Also, if this was a fact, why is this entirely missing from her current lawsuit? Either Blair is lying about my mistreatment towards Casper, or Blair is, for some reason, both in her lawsuit and her video, hiding information and only using it when convenient for her, like a failed restraining order. I've had to publicly bite my tongue on so many of the claims she's made in the legal system, but I can only take so much. This is interesting as well because, like I've said, she makes a lot of claims in her claims, and a lot of it just seems like a lie. And unfortunately, Oz and other people that she's making these claims about can't actually say anything. They can't refute it unless it goes to court. So we just have to, unless it gets thrown out. So we just have to try and see through things. We have to figure out for ourselves. Like, I personally don't believe the computer thing, but I could be wrong. And then we get to the part of what she's actually asking for in this restraining order, and this is where it gets very interesting. So she requests that Oz be ordered to refrain from contacting, harassing, injuring, stalking, touching, essaying, yada yada, multiple things, Blair. Although I feel like this is a weird thing to say. I know, like, this is the form, but the fact that you have to specify, like, refrain from essaying somebody, surely that is the law anyway. Be ordered to have no contact with Blair or other protected persons. Be excluded from my home address. Also, before I continue, I just want to say she claimed stalking and ABUSE, but she doesn't actually state where this has happened. She just fully talks about her own reputation here and of her online persona, so food for thought. Be ordered not to possess and or purchase a firearm, ammunition, or other weapon, and to relinquish any firearm, ammunition within the time ordered by the court. Which this just reminds me actually that Blair has a license to own a firearm, so there's that. Be ordered to refrain from interfering with me or other persons at our place of employment or place of education, and from engaging in conduct that impairs my or other protected person's employment, educational relationships, or environment. And the other section. Blair requests that the court order Oz to delete all posts he has made to social media since April 23rd, pertaining to Sad Milk, Blair, or her social media platforms. Refrain from posting about Blair or her social media content on any of his social media accounts or on social media accounts of others. Refrain from posting in the comment section of any of Blair's social media accounts. Refrain from interacting in any way with Blair's social media posts. Refrain from encouraging any third party to post in the comment section of Blair's social media accounts, or reposting any of petitioner's original content for any purpose. Refrain from making any video or media posts about Blair. And this is why I personally believe that she filed this restraining order, this protection order. It was not because her life was threatened. It was not because her safety was threatened. Again, this is all my opinion. But it was because she wanted those posts deleted and she wanted these people silenced. She did not want them to be able to speak about her publicly. They did not want them to be able to post about her, to talk about her, to tell people the bad things that she had done. She did not want any videos made about her. And I think that is the entire reason that she made these orders or these requests. But there's also a second request that Blair put on the same day, June 14th, 2023, and this time it's about Wonderstruck. And she claims stalking, physical assault, threats, or other situation. The most recent incident that causes me to ask for a CPO occurred on or about May 11th, 2023, when Wonderstruck did the following to me. Blair and Wonderstruck were previously roommates and worked together to present a group YouTube vlog, Sad Milk, with other collaborators. Blair and Wonderstruck are popular social media personalities and influencers individually, as well as with Wonderstruck having over 100,000 subscribers to his personal YouTube and over 9,000 followers to his Twitter. On around April 23rd, Blair and Wonderstruck had a falling out. Wonderstruck and 3 of the collaborators involved in the Sad Milk channel made coordinated posts to their individual social media accounts deriding Blair and making accusations of cruelty, financial abuse, and racism. Since about April 21st, Wonderstruck and his cohorts have continued to post to their channels and encouraged their followers to attack Blair in comment sections across their social media platforms and threaten her with bodily harm. They have not encouraged this. They have not encouraged this. They never encouraged this. This is such a lie, in my opinion. The most recent incident involves Wonderstruck posting an hour and 20-minute long video to his YouTube channel rehashing his accusations against Blair, including that she trapped him in her home, invaded his privacy, lives like a monster, etc. That video generated over 21,000 likes and received over 250,000 views, more than double his subscriber count, and stirred up those viewers to attack Blair over social media and/or unfollow her social media channels, which generate substantial revenue for her. Blair received a threat from an unknown source stating, and we already went over this again, this is the whole hostage thing, but I don't know how she's attributing this to both Oz and to Wonderstruck. So it's pretty much the same thing. He's making posts about me and I don't like them. The most recent incident was, as discussed, since April 23rd, Wonderstruck and his associates have made an orchestrated effort to attack and encourage others to attack Blair across their considerably popular social media platforms. These efforts included carefully timed posts to his Twitter accounts exposing Blair for cruelty, racism, manipulation of him, financial abuse, theft, destruction of property, and verbally attacking her former collaborators. Wonderstruck posted 16 tweets in a row on that date, accusing Petitioner of stalking, trapping him in her home for 30 days. Trapping him in her home for 30 days. No. No. What? No. He did not. What are you talking about? I'm starting to lose my mind here. Okay. Posting pictures of her messy room to embarrass her, causing him to have to get a full-time job, causing him to live in poverty, throwing away his YouTube play button, and more. Didn't you throw away his YouTube play button? Did that not happen? Did that not happen, Blair? You want to tell me how that didn't happen? Each of these tweets were viewed by more than 15,000 people. Since April 23rd, 2023, Petitioner has lost over 120,000 subscribers from her YouTube channel, causing a 67% drop in her revenue. And they're now swamped with comments quoting Wonderstruck's claims and threatening violence or swatting against Blair. The thing is here, she's claiming that oh, he made these posts about me, but you're not proving that they're not true in any way. Surely if they're true, they should be allowed to say it. And again, they did not tell people to harass you. That did not happen. Since April 23rd, Wonderstruck has repeatedly approached Petitioner's friend, former employees, that is so badly worded, to get personal information about her and her activities to add fuel to their social media campaign against her. Petitioner has received numerous death threats because of Wonderstruck's post. Blair is in regular contact with the Colorado Springs Police Department because of these threats. It's really annoying me, the constant saying of, this was an orchestrated attack, but you can't prove that this was an orchestrated attack unless somebody looks into all their messages. You're just saying that you've decided this is what it is. You don't have any proof for that. Blair served Wonderstruck with a cease and desist letter on May 27th. Wonderstruck tweeted that he would not be silenced and also created a GoFundMe page to help him pay his legal fees. After his public posts, Blair received more hateful comments from individuals associated with and supportive of Wonderstruck, along with comments for people to go after her sponsors that help financially support her. Some of her sponsors stopped working with her due to those comments. D-U-E. D-U-E. Do does not mean that. Due to... This is annoying me, an unnecessary amount. This one word, I'm gonna calm down, I'm so sorry. And then goes on to say again that her full name, birth date, phone number, yada yada has been leaked. And then she then requests the same things that she requested of OzMedia, but also adds, be ordered to stay at least 100 yards from the following places, her home. And the same thing again. Blair requests that the court order Wonderstruck to delete all posts he has made to social media since April 23rd pertaining to Sad Milk, Blair, or her other social media platforms. Refrain from posting about Blair to her social media content or any of his social media accounts, or on the social media accounts from others. Refrain from posting in the comments section of any of Blair's social media accounts. Refrain from interacting in any way with Blair's social media posts. Refrain from encouraging any third party to post in the comments section of Blair's social media accounts, or posting any of Blair's original content for any purpose. And refrain from making any videos or media posts about Blair. Again, I already said it, but I'm going to say it again so we're all on the same page here. I personally fully believe that the only reason that she asked for these restraining orders was so that they would be silenced, so that they could not make videos talking about her bad behavior. And clearly these failed. Well, at least the OzMedia one failed, but we have reason to believe that the Wonderstruck one failed as well, because he posted to Twitter and simply said, "There is a lot I want to say." Which leads me to believe that this was his first time hearing about this. And to be honest, I'm glad these didn't go through because in my own personal opinion, they seem completely baseless. They seem filled with lies, and it's more her going, they're damaging my reputation, so stop them from speaking about me, which is not how restraining orders work. And from my understanding, restraining orders are actually quite hard to get. So, there you go. That's going to be it from me for now, though. This was an absolutely wild ride. Please do leave me a comment and let me know what you think about all of this, what we've discussed today. I'm going to take these off so I can finish the video normally, but now I can't see. It's a problem. And if you don't want to leave me a comment about that, then just leave me a comment that says glasses, because comments help my engagement. Thank you very much. If you like what I do on this channel, then please consider checking out the Patreon or the YouTube memberships. You get different benefits. On Patreon, you get exclusive merch and access to the Patreon only chat. And it does mainly really support me and what I'm doing, and I'm making videos and stuff like that. And I really appreciate anybody who wants to check that out. If you don't feel like checking those things out, that is absolutely fine. You can still help me out by subscribing. I also really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Like, comment, share, do all the things that I'm supposed to ask you to do at the end of a video, including follow me on social media, VangelinaSkov everywhere. Have an absolutely wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!